On the 22nd of April, 2025, U.S. Democratic Representative Al Green of Texas held a press conference in Houston to address recent derogatory remarks made by his colleague, Republican Representative Diana Harshbarger of Tennessee. In an interview with Fame Ministries, Harshbarger referred to Green as boy, dismissed his use of a cane as a mere prop, and suggested it might conceal a weapon. She also used a slur against the LGBTQ community, referring to them as fairies.
Now that's not me. I wanted to go over there and grab a few of them, but Al Green was over here with his cane, and I'm like, gosh, dang it, boy, put that. He does not need that cane. That cane is a prop. I swear it's not real. And I'm wondering, one of my colleagues said, screw the gold part off of that and see if there's a gun in there. I'm like, I don't know about that man. He's just Weird Al. Okay.
Before we get into the incident, let's do a brief overview of the negative connotation of the word boy, and later we will discuss the hypocrisy of the cross-wearing, Bible-toting, scriptures espousing, cosplaying family values, morality dissolute, right-wing racist Christian nationalist, and their unrelenting attack on the LGBTQ community, other ethnicities, religions, and individuals with disabilities they have openly professed hate and disdain for. I have an entire series forthcoming, dedicated to serving the tea, for sippers to sip, coffee for the corporate climbers, latte for the soft-spoken meek folks, wine for the emotionally unavailable exes. And if you really want to get into the receipts, then liquor for the late-night lurkers who swear they were just checking the weather. Whatever your throat solvent may be, you'll surely need it after the tea is served. This barrage of assaults on the LGBTQ community has been nothing more than a carrot being dangled and used like the evil forces in the sci-fi genre Superman, where the evil forces use kryptonite to keep him weak, allowing them to continue their evil raids. Whenever the right needs a distraction, the shining LGBTQ medallion gets pulled out and dangled. The hypnotized cult zombies fall into place and are locked in on the false flag when they are the real threat. The word boy, when used by a white person to address a black person, carries a venomous history steeped in racism. In the era of American slavery, enslavers deliberately called black men boy to strip them of their humanity and adulthood. This was no mere word choice. It was a calculated act to dehumanize, to reduce grown men to a state of perpetual childishness and subservience. The term denied black men their dignity, reinforcing the brutal power dynamics of a system that treated them as property. This linguistic weapon was not just a product of its time. It was a cornerstone of the ideology that justified slavery's horrors. As slavery gave way to Jim Crow segregation, the use of boy evolved but retained its toxic edge. White people wielded it to demean black men, signaling that they were not equals, not men, but lesser beings unworthy of respect. In the South and beyond, a white person calling a black man boy in a condescending tone was a public assertion of dominance, a reminder of who held power in a racially stratified society. This practice wasn't just personal, it was systemic, embedded in the culture of white supremacy that permeated laws, institutions, and everyday interactions. The word became a slur, a shorthand for centuries of oppression that lingered in every syllable. Today, the weight of this history makes boy a fraught term when used by a white person toward a black person. Context matters, tone, intent, and the relationship between speaker and listener can shift its impact. But the word's legacy is inescapable. A casual or malicious utterance can reopen old wounds, evoking the pain of ancestors who endured its sting under slavery and segregation. Even unintentional use risks being perceived as a microaggression or an echo of overt racism, as it recalls a time when black men were systematically denied their place as equals. The term's power to offend lies in its ability to summon this collective trauma with a single word. Understanding this history is crucial to navigating the terms used today. While boy might seem innocuous in some settings, like a coach addressing a diverse team, its racialized past demands caution. The word's baggage is not abstract. It's grounded in real stories of dehumanization, from plantation fields to Jim Crow courtrooms. Linguistic studies and historical accounts, such as those from the Jim Crow Museum, underscore how deeply boy is tied to America's racial violence. To wield it carelessly is to risk perpetuating a legacy of harm, a reminder that words can carry the weight of centuries. Let's go back a few years. President Biden, who is notable for making a plethora of gaffes over his political career, has used the word boy. Take a look at these snippets, one involving hip-hop rap artist LL Cool J and the other Maryland governor, Wes Moore. Is every use of someone calling someone boy a reflection of a racial bias? Do you take in account who said it? Let me know in the comments your thoughts.
Justin Jones, a new voice that gives us hope for the future, Justin. And two of the great artists of our time representing the groundbreaking legacy of hip-hop in America, LL Cool J. By the way, that man's got biceps bigger than my thighs. I think he's... And MC Light, both of you, thank you. And you got a hell of a new governor in Wes Moore, I tell you. He's the real deal, and the boy looked like he can still play. He got some guns on him.
Again, knowing what we know about President Biden, what are your thoughts of those clips? The final video will be the press conference, where Representative Green condemned the racist and homophobic comments, emphasizing the historical weight of the term boy when directed at black men. He will recount a personal experience from his childhood when a police officer used the term to demean his father, highlighting the enduring pain such language causes. He also addressed his disability. Let's take a listen to what he had to say.
All right, friends, thank you very much for being here today on very short notice. And I especially thank the members of the press who are here today on exceedingly short notice. This is an important topic, and I am grateful for your attendance. I do know that we're competing with another event, and because of that, we probably won't get as much press attention as I think the topic merits. But it's important that we do what we must when we can. Today we're here because of a slur that has been made, a slur that addressed me by the title of boy, and a slur that also addressed the LGBTQ plus community as fairies, a term that I never use except for today to communicate. And there's also a reference that was made to my cane. I'll talk about all three of these, and then each person here will have an opportunity to speak as well. We're all going to try to be as brief as possible. But this is a topic that many people are very passionate about, both of these topics, meaning the slur on the LGBTQ plus community, as well as a slur on black men. Boy, this is especially sensitive for me because as a child, I remember my father being stopped by a peace officer, and the officer referred to my father as boy, and my mother was girl. And it wasn't just that one time. It was the way society addressed people of color who were of African ancestry at the time. It wasn't said to indicate that you were youthful. It was said to demean, to degrade, to denigrate. It was said such that you would know your place in society. And it was something that you would immediately have said to you. I can remember the child of an Anglo male calling my father boy, the child. My mother was called girl in the presence of her friends on one occasion. Friends, it's not about Al Green. It's about whether black people in this society are going to allow slurs such as this to be normalized. We cannot allow the normalization of these kinds of slurs. Unfortunately, the president has set the tone and tenor. And unfortunately, the tone and tenor starts at the top, and then it meanders its way down. We have to stop it, and stop it now. This is not a simple case of a layperson on the street calling me a name. Just this weekend, as I boarded a plane and I took my seat, a man came by and called me a name that I never used, but I'll use it for our purposes today. He called me a bastard. And I never said a word. He was just a layperson. This is different. This is a member of Congress, a member of the Congress of the United States of America. It's different because the member said it over the airwaves. This wasn't something said as we were going through the halls of Congress or some other place out in the streets. This was said over the airwaves. This is an attempt to normalize, whether it's done wittingly or unwittingly, this type of slur. And it's something that we cannot tolerate. So we're here today, all of us, to give our commentary on this. I want to go further now and mention the LGBTQ plus community. Everybody knows I'm an ally, so I don't have to say this. But when one person is slurred, every person suffers. We cannot allow the suffering of Black men being called boy to cause us to overlook the suffering of members of the LGBTQIA community being called fairies. We all suffer. We're all in this together. And it's time for us to unite and bond and bind together and take on these challenges of our time. We cannot allow posterity to believe that we had a chance to stand when we had the opportunity to stand against these slurs, racial slurs, slurs against persons in terms of their sexuality. We cannot allow posterity to believe that we just simply stood silently by. We cannot be silent on these issues. So I'm going to do this today. I'm going to allow each person to speak, but I'm also going to do one other thing. I want people to know that these are my canes. This is the one that I used when I was on the floor of the House of Representatives. I didn't go there to use this cane in the fashion that I did. I was trying to make my way and leave at the time the president started to talk about his mandate. And my comment was, you don't have a mandate to cut Medicaid. That was my comment. My colleagues across the aisle wanted to prevent my voice from being heard. So in an effort to mute me, they got very loud. So I spoke again, and then I mentioned Social Security, and I mentioned Medicare. They got louder. Eventually, I was evicted. My cane is always with me, and there are some who believe that this cane has a weapon in it. I'm almost reluctant to say that it doesn't, to be quite honest, because there is some degree of safety in knowing that people might not bother to say some things or do some things that are ugly if they think that I may be armed. But Bishop Dixon, I want you to know this. I believe in the 23rd Psalm, and I believe in that part that says, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, right, because my rod and my staff, they comfort me. This is my comforter. It helps me in the event that I need help when I am overwhelmed by someone, and I get many threats all the time, and I cannot have the police with me all the time. I get threats, and I need to make sure that these threats are properly met. If I don't have the police with me, then I'm going to have to defend myself. This is lawful. There is nothing unlawful about this cane. Now, so as to give someone an opportunity to take it on, and sir, you just put your camera down. Would you come over, please? Would you feel the top of this?
It's hard.
Try to open it if you would, please.
Open it?
Yeah, well, it can't open, but at least give it a try.
Solid.
Turn to the camera. Okay. And pull on the bottom of it, please, there, just to make sure that nothing flashes out. Okay. So this is a cane. That's what it is. It's lawful. It's lawful. I am ambulatory, but I do find that this is quite beneficial when I'm climbing stairs. It does give me some degree of stability that I need from time to time. I am ambulatory. This is the brother to the cane. They were gifts given to me. One has my name, the other has my initials. This one, I am retiring today. It has been abused enough. I'm going to place this in a very special place and save it for some person who might do research and look through the vista of time and want to know what this cane was all about, and they'll have the benefit of this cane. We persons of goodwill have to understand that this is not as simple as a cane and a comment. This is about something that was started in this society on August 20th of 1619, when the first persons of African ancestry were delivered to the colonies that would become the United States of America. And they were there for 5 reasons. Well, let's talk about 4 today. The 5th one, I'd have to have a long dissertation, and I don't want to do that. But they were there, brought there to be a permanent, identifiable, subservient caste of people. Permanent, identifiable, subservient caste of people. This is about that caste, not a class. A class is a socioeconomic circumstance. You can move in and out of a class. A caste is hereditary. You're born into it, you live your life in it, and you die in it. I hate to take us back to that point in time, but since that time, this caste system, there are still aspects of it that people of color suffer from. There's still aspects of it. Boy was a part of the caste system to let you know your place in society. This is what boy was all about. It was something that was used so that not only would you know your place, but it would say to others, I know this person's place in society. Boy, the caste system. Well, I want the persons who would do this, and especially the president, to know that in 2025, on our watch, we are not going back to a caste system. We're not. We've suffered too long, fought too hard, too many lives lost for us to now retreat to this position. People have lived and died so that we could have these opportunities that we share. And we are not going to let them be sacrificed at the altar of persons of ill will who have chosen to set back those who have made progress, to roll back the clock, turn back the hands of time. We're not going to tolerate it. It's about the LGBTQIA community because that community has the same connectivity to this racism, to these slurs as we have. They have been demeaned, and because this community has chosen now to announce who they are publicly and be themselves, there are people who don't want that. They want people to deny in the public who they are, be whatever you want someplace else, but just don't do it in my presence. Well, that's not the America that is enshrined in the Constitution. You have every right to be who you are, wherever you are. I'm going to forever be an African-American male, unapologetically black, forever, as long as I live. And I invite my colleagues to know that we're going to support you in your quest to be yourselves.
Representative Green addressed the comments appropriately, and as much uproar as there was from the right when he stood for the people on the floor of Congress and shouted, "You have no mandate to cut Medicaid." There should have been equal, plus more to denounce Representative Diana Harshbarger regarding her comments. I don't anticipate any accountability or nutrition from the right, and especially after recovering what I am about to share. This has been buried, and not too many people have reported about this, but one thing about court filings, there is always a paper trail. There is also an old adage that goes, birds of a feather flock together. So when this story broke about her, with the slurs, many were like, who is she? I myself was not familiar with her. Unlike Representative Green, everyone knows. We know the work, we know his passion, we know his fight. What do we know about Representative Harshbarger? What are the great contributions to society she has to show during her political come-up? Inquiring minds wants to know. A federal investigation on her husband Robert Harshbarger Jr., who was operating American Inhalation Medication Specialist Incorporation, was under investigation for distributing a misbranded Chinese-made drug that was given to kidney dialysis patients in Kansas. He admitted that from 2004 to 2009, he substituted a cheaper Chinese import for an iron sucrose drug approved by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. He pleaded guilty to 1 count of distributing a misbranded drug and 1 count of healthcare fraud. He was sentenced to 4 years in federal prison and paid close to $1 million in fines. During that investigation, Representative Harshbarger said she did not have any dealings with the company, however. According to the 2012 Tennessee Secretary of State Annual Document Report, she was listed as the secretary. Now, maybe I am missing something here, but generally a secretary knows the ins and outs of the business, and to add, it's your spouse, who has a vested equity interest. Make that make sense. She is deeply seated into the Trump party. She has earned her accommodation medal in his eyes of being someone loyal. So much so, Trump gave a full-throated endorsement for her son, Bobby Harshbarger, who secured the Tennessee Senate District 4 seat. So listen, it's clear what the qualifications are to be in and to stay in this administration. It's certainly not the most qualified and the best of the best. It's simply WEI, white, entitled, incompetent, willing to compromise their morals and effectuate the Christian nationalist views. Look, it's no longer the grand old party rants on social media, fragrant catchphrases behind closed doors and bombastic media blitzes. These are actionables that, if continued to go unchecked, we will no longer have any resemblance of the land of the free. Capitulation is not an option. As a new YouTube creator, please lend your support in helping grow this channel. Now, more than ever, we need as many people willing to take the time and effort to promote the truth. Small ask. If you did not hit like and subscribe, please do so at this time. No matter how heavy and volatile the world is currently, thoughts, reflection, respect always carry us home. So as we come in for the soft landing, hard truth, cold conversations, but always peace at the end, remember, stand up, speak up, and let the voices of freedom break the silence. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Thesis of the World. Until we meet again, stay engaged, stay in the fight. We have a republic to save.